Oh, I hope my next guest tells you the story about the bust that they've created of him for this particular play, because we've been having a great laugh. The play is called The Noble Pursuit. It is being played at the Ottawa Little Theatre, and I am joined by actor Bradley Moseley-Williams, also a professor of public relations. Welcome, Bradley. Great to have you here. Let's talk about The Noble Pursuit, first of all. This is really a grassroots play, right?
It really is. It was written by Douglas Bowie, who lives in Kingston, but he's from Ottawa. And it's the first time the play's been shown in Ottawa. So the playwright's actually coming to the show on the 18th of the month, and there'll be a talk back. So anybody comes, you can actually speak to the playwright, which is kind of a fun experience too. It's a very witty play. It's a farce. Okay. Very physical. So there's, we agreed no spoilers,
yes,
right,
no
Derek?
spoilers,
okay.
Yeah.
So there's lots of jumping out of windows and people showing up in doors where they're not supposed to be. The timing has got to be perfect. It's lots of fun, and it's a bit of a whodunit.
Okay.
And maybe a who wrote it, and who's guilty and who's innocent.
Interesting. Now, have you met the playwright? Have you met him personally?
No, but he sent a very nice email after the opening night, and I'll meet him on the 18th because we're going to participate in the talk back with him.
I haven't done theater for years. I imagine, the playwright sitting in the audience watching me perform. Like,
no nerves.
No, okay, good.
No
all right,
nerves
I just wanted to double
yeah.
check on you.
I knew his work because he also wrote the TV show Empire that was on CBC
you're
a few years ago.
kidding.
Yeah, that's him too.
Oh,
so he's very well known.
Yeah,
very
no
well known.
kidding.
But it is a little nerve-wracking to know that he's coming with 20 friends. So no fear whatsoever.
No, you're going to be just fine. You mentioned the staging. So because of how you just described, jumping in and out of windows and 2 floors, the timing of everything, you must be impeccable.
The timing, as well as the safety of all that physicality. Right. So the Ottawa Little Theatre is a community theatre. That means anybody here, anybody watching, can go and audition, and you might find yourself with a role. That's what happened to me. Okay. But there's lots of training, there's lots of work. We were in rehearsals for more than 2 months, and they make sure that it's a professional theater by community people.
Right.
But you can't just jump out a window from 2 stories up and just jump. There's some tricks of the trade they teach you behind the scenes, which has been lots of fun.
What's your background in acting? Has this always been a part of your life?
No, this is the second play I've been in. I was in another play 13 years ago, so I'm referring to this as my triumphant return to the stage.
I love it.
Yeah, and I auditioned as a fluke and was quite surprised to get the role.
Okay, hold on. I got to stop you there. How is it a fluke?
Well, I knew who the playwright was. I looked at the audition sheet because someone who had been a student of mine was in Sense and Sensibility.
Okay.
So I said, well, I'll go audition for this role. It'll be a lot of fun just to go to the audition process. I was actually planning to volunteer, maybe sell tickets or work in the bar or something. Okay. And instead I got the role. But I think that's important to understand. The Ottawa Little Theatre has been in Ottawa for 110 years. Yeah. And it really is a cultural gemstone in this city. But it's from the city, and it's of the city, and it's Ottawa people. And more people, I think, are you've been on more people are actors and actresses than they realize. They just need a director and a producer to bring that out.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So if you try it, you might just like it.
Tell me about your role.
Well, I play a character named Noble Harmsworth, who is a man in his 70s, who is a can-lit star. There are a few other characters. There's his agent, his assistant, a failed writer, and a literary reviewer. So Noble is the character upon which the story revolves and all the other characters interact. I think there's a few surprises and mystery. I'm so worried I'll give part of the play away.
I know,
it's funny, but there's some sharp moments. Right. And it's uniquely Canadian. So there's lots of Canadian gags that I think a Canadian audience will get, and I think that there are some big surprises. It's a bit of a whodunit.
I was laughing off the top because we were talking about the fact, I'm going to show this to camera here, because this is a bust supposedly of you,
of Noble,
right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I think it looks great, but there's an actual life-size one.
There's a life-size one. So the set is a 2-story set, which was designed by our set designer Kyle Aluwalia. Everything that the audience will see on the set is a real antique or period to the time. Oh, so there's some cell phones we use, but the play is set in 2013. Those cell phones existed in 2013. So the level of professionalism is pretty sharp.
Nice.
The bust, which is based upon me and a character from history, you might know Joseph Stalin, is a central part of the story at one point. So it features in the play as well. So this was the mock-up that was designed. It's 3D printed, and then I just couldn't really show up at the big one because it's on set.
My understanding too is that bust actually plays a big role in the play.
Yes,
is that
it does.
right?
Yes, it does.
Without giving anything away,
You can't beat it out of me with a stick.
Okay.
No, I won't
All right.
tell.
Okay.
But it does play a big role. It does play a big role.
With your background in public relations, a professor of public relations, now you think I could talk. I host a television show. Could you use any of that experience in your role here?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah, for sure. Because lots of public speaking and lots of knowing how to project your voice. Listen, I knew very little about acting. The director and the stage manager and the other characters and the other actors in the play really helped me do that. There was lots of assistance. I'm happy with how things have turned out, but I very much rely on my career in public relations for some other things, and I'm not going to shy away from that. I think anybody who goes to an audition has that experience where you'll stand on stage and see if your voice can fill up the auditorium.
Right.
And then the rest is just a little bit of hard slogging and work. But I'm very comfortable speaking in public, so that was certainly a help.
I might need your advice after stumbling through Professor. Bradley, tell me about the rest of the cast, because I know, these relationships grow so quickly. You must be having just an absolute blast working with these people.
It's been so much fun. So everybody else in the play has a lot of experience. Some people have been in 25 plays. They've been on TV shows like Trailer Park Boys, etc. And I've been in one other play. So I did have to work, I think, a little bit harder than a few other people. But the theater, for every person on stage, Derek, there are 6 people behind stage. So makeup, hair, set design, props, lighting, sound cues. It is a studio. It looks like a studio like this one. So when I saw your previous guest, I thought, oh, I know where some of that, I've seen some of that technology other places. I think that anybody who thinks that they have something to contribute should go to an audition and try it out.
I agree.
And I think that now that COVID's over and we can go back to real live entertainment, what I hear from the people who've seen the show is they love a night out, and then they go to the market, they have supper, they make it an evening.
Yeah.
So it's a fun thing, but for a theater to exist for 110 years, it's the second oldest community theater in North America.
Yeah, they're doing something right.
They're doing something
Bradley,
right.
Really appreciate it. I just want to tell everybody at home, the play, it's called The Noble Pursuit, Canadian farce by Douglas Bowie, running until June 24th, Wednesday and Saturdays at 7:30 p.m., Sundays at 2:30 p.m., and we'll remind you at the end of the show of that too.